The primitives palette gives you access to a whole lot of pre-made shapes that can form the building blocks of a lot of what you will use in Cinema 4D. They can be the starting points. Later on you can then make them editable and manipulate individual points. But you can see there's quite a range, and with a bit of imagination you're going to be able to make a lot with just these primitives. So I'll just load some in, and then we'll just go through some of the options within each of them. So here's a little arrangement of primitives, and we'll just go through a few of them. So firstly, the cube. The cube has got some options, and if you look at the little orange dots, they allow you to drag and shape things. So with this you could make tables, legs, buildings. You've also got options to add radiuses to the corners with the fillet button. You can also type in values here. Next one along is the cone. So cone, you can change the radius, you can change the height, but if you then just go into top radius, you've then got access to another one as well, which is quite cool. You can also slice, so if you tick the slice box, you can end up with a segment, and that's true of a lot of the circular objects. Here's the cylinder. So the cylinder, very similar, has got this access. Make a coin, and if you click on slice, you can then start making pie charts and animating these. These are very easy to animate. Disk is very similar. It's a single polygon thick, so thinner than a sheet of paper, and again you've got access to those. A plane is made up of a number of polygons, so we just change to see the lines. You can see this has got 20. Sometimes you need fewer, sometimes you need more. This will become more important the further you get into 3D. The polygon is a bit like the plane, it's just that it's one segment, and then you can add your own. The sphere, there are different sorts of sphere, and there is a key button there that says render perfect, so it doesn't really matter how many segments you've got, it will always render smoothly with that ticked. And you can increase the number of segments, you can change the type, so you could, instead of it being much more evenly spread with triangles. The torus, it's called a torus, I'm calling it a donut, but you can change everything about this. This is the overall radius, this is the radius of the pipe, and again you can have a slice of donut and animate that. The capsule is a nice one. It looks like a sort of, I suppose, a cold cure, but you can change it. So it's a cylinder with a radius on the top and the bottom. You can stretch it out. Again, you've got the object, you've got the slice, you've got the number of segments. Here's a slice of capsule, if that's what you're after. The oil tank is a cylinder with a a radius top. It's not a full dome, but this is also quite a nice one, very similar to the capsule in a way, except you can end up with a sharp edge. The tube is a useful one. You can change the size of the hole in the middle. You can change the thickness of the pipe, the height of the pipe, or the overall radius. And again, you've got access to the slice. The pyramid is pretty much as you'd expect. You can change the width at the bottom, you can change the width at the breadth at the bottom, you can change the height. The Platonic, it just gives you an icosahedron, a hexahedron, a tetrahedron, an octahedron, and the number of segments on each space. So these can form the basic building blocks of a lot of what you can do. There's also a landscape object, there's a simple figure object, and a couple of others which have got very specific uses, but these are the key ones. So here's the figure, and there's also a landscape object where you've got lots of options. You can change with the roughness, the number of furrows, the size. You can make it, at the moment it's square at the bottom. If you click the borders at sea level, you can end up with a very different sort of object, which might be useful in some cases. Then all of these allow you to change the number of segments across, so you can end up with some very low poly looks, again, if that's what you're after. You can also apply it to a spherical object. So now we've got a sphere, it wrapped around a sphere. And that's it.